I'm not in a very good mood because I've decided to make a big change. This bed isn't really level. It's a bit bananaed from the previous life it had. Can't really see it at the moment, but you might see it's a bit bowed. Out there, can't tell. But it's definitely out. When you put it on the chassis rails, it's about 20 mil, maybe a little bit less on either side, so it's arching, so the middle section is touching the chassis and then the two ends are up, which is fine. When I bolt it all down, it sort of levels itself off, but it puts a lot of strain on the those bushes that I've made for the torsion system, the rail and rail system. And what it does, it gets to the point where the bushes have compressed so much when I tested it that it then starts to bend or twist the bed a little bit, which is not ideal because that then will affect the box. So what I've decided to do is I've cut off all my brackets that I welded, which was a mission because they were beautifully welded, all aligned, beautifully done. I've then decided to buy some more steel to attach to the bottom of the main two rails, these ones and this one, shit on the chassis, and that's going to go under here, 50 mil. So what that means is I'm going to go and stitch weld it all the way along, all the way down to the other end, all under here. As you can see, that's the bracket I cut off. Stitch welding prep, because this is all galvanized, so it's all been ground down, ready for welding. I'm doing it about 300 mil gaps on both sides. On that side, as you can see, yeah, there's another one that I've cut off, another one of the brackets. One on that side's come off, so there were 6 altogether. And these are the marks of where I've ground underneath, ready to accept this extra piece of metal. And it's been a mission. If you've ever tried to cut a weld that you didn't expect to come off ever again, it's a mission. So here's the other one, it's gone. Here's the other one, gone. And of course, they're just going to be re-welded back on, but they'll be a lot lower. And that's the reason why they had to come off, because I've had to put that extra steel in. The whole bed's gone up by 50 mil, which means those torsion brackets are going to be way too far away from the ones that are still on the truck, which is this one, this one, and this one. And that also means that the wood and the 2 layers of rubber that I started with, they're coming off to compensate. So this layer and that layer is coming off. I've already peeled them off, and we're just going to have the one left here. Then the new piece of metal on top, which is almost the same thickness as this, slightly more, by about 15 millimeters. If it wasn't that much thicker, I wouldn't have bothered cutting all the brackets off, but it's just not going to work. It's not going to be good, put it that way. So that took forever. It's exhausting, filthy, horrible work, lots of grinding. But now I'm at the point where I should be able to make the actual extra piece. I'll show you how that goes when I'm in the shed. So I've bought 8-meter lengths. I'll show you those in a sec. So here's the brackets that have come off. It is gutting. I mean, that's a lot of work that's gone down the drain. Well, not down the drain, but just repeated. So here's 2 of them. Here's the 2 real ones. You can see where I've had to go through the angle grinder. It was a lot of work. And here's the other one. And then these are the 4 that are the ones with the rubber bung. So you can see how much grinding that took. Of course, I've lost a bit of the level, so I have to compensate for that. But yeah. That's the thing with making a camper that really is quite complex. And I've never done it before, so you do things that you think is the right thing, then you realize it's not quite going to work, even though you think, it'll be fine. People I've spoken to said it'll be fine. I'm just not convinced, so I thought I'd try to do it properly. But even now, I'm wondering if I weld that steel, make sure I flatten it down to the chassis, but this time use G-clamps, not the rubber bungs, so that's definitely flat on the chassis. Stitch weld on either side of the rails all the way at 300 mil, just around that sort of gap along it, and hopefully that'll take the spring out of it, or the bow out of it. It is being welded at the bottom end of the bed, so hopefully that when it shrinks, when welds shrink, it actually will pull it the right way as well. So maybe I'm relying a bit on that, but I've got the 8-meter lengths here that I ordered, which cost an absolute fortune because things are skyrocketing. But even like when they're sitting on the floor without support, you can see there's a slight bow in them. Ever so slightly. It's those ones there, the two end ones. Over there. Very slight bend, but that's over a span of 8 meters, so I don't know. Hopefully it'll hold, even if it gets rid of at least half the bend in it, it would be better. And I think it'll just make it stronger anyway. They're 4 mil thick. I didn't go with the full-on 6 mil thickness. I just don't want to add any more weight, and I think they're more than strong enough. The rest of the steel, that's the bed rails, sorry, the subframe. So those bits and extra bits and bobs that I might have needed. Here are my two little helpers. Hello. Hello, Mummy. What are you doing here? Where's Lucy? Oh. What are you doing to Mummy? You're a handsome boy, aren't you? Yeah. Hello, about Lucy. You're a handsome boy too. Yeah. Good boys. Alright, let's get some work done. So there's that ridiculous setup. Let's hope my little saw with a Ferris blade will do it. I'm not sure, hopefully, because it's the only square thing I can cut with. My bandsaw for some reason is starting to not cut perfectly square, and without major stuff it's not going to do it today. And I'm still waiting on my really nice saw, which still hasn't arrived, which is again another pain. But anyway, here we go. Let's see what happens. So for some reason it didn't video the cut, but this is the second one. I'm quite happy with the first one. It's a really good cut. I've used a bit of candle wax to help the blade last a bit longer because it is 4 mil thick, and it's not really designed to cut with a Ferris cutting saw blade, because the speed's too high. It's a wood saw really. So I'm just setting it up now. It looks like it's on the line. So yeah, I'm just going to clamp it all up, double check my measurements, and see how we go. Oh, by the way, if you see me pulsing it, it's to keep the speed low. It seems to cut better when it's lower speed, so I don't want to burn the blade out. Check for squareness. That's pretty square. I think it's because I forgot to clamp that down, because the other one is much squarer. I'm not too bothered because that's to be the side that I'll modify. This one's a lot better. Fine adjustments. According to the Isuzu bodybuilder's manual, you've got to sort of like chamfer the leading edge of the bottom end of the bed. Mine hasn't got that when I got it, so they obviously didn't stick to Isuzu bodybuilding rules when they made those particular beds, unless they just relied on that big chunky bit of wood to soften it. But even the wood's supposed to be chamfered, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, this is what I'm doing. So you can see here it's going to be chamfered. Let's go this way so you can see it there. It's going to be chamfered this way. I've cut the edge or the triangular bit out of here, so now I'm going to try and pull this across and weld it to here. So then that will be chamfered, and I'll just weld it and finish it off nicely. Probably close this last bit because it's a diagonal, it will be a bit short, so we'll see what we can do with that and do the same for this time. So that's the next job. Yeah, sorting that out. But now it's time for food later. So now I've cut them and now I'm going to bend them. I've bent one side and with the vice grips, put a little bit of a gap there, and then I'm going to seam weld across there and there. This one's ready to go. That's the next step. Okay, so both chamfered bits are sorted and they don't look too bad. So there's the one and there's the other. So that's how it will sit on the truck there, on the chassis. This is the leading edge at the front, and that's the back end. Alright, now to go and put them on and see what they look like. Okay, so we're safe. That's what it looks like with the rails. And you can see I've got some rubber, 10mm and 23-ish to 5mm, which I haven't treated yet. Alright, so I'm going to now weld, wire brush and then weld.